Welcome back. Today we are going to be reviewing rounding to a given place value. Okay, so by the end of the lesson, which you should already know this now, you're going to be able to find the place value and round accordingly. Okay, so let's look at this. I just have a bunch of blanks on here, and I just wanted to represent basically what we're going to be rounding to. Here's your decimal point. Okay, that's red with the word and whenever you read a number. It's, if I had 36.5, I would say 36 and 5/10. So you got to know the place values. Okay, the first one to the left is called the ones, not the once. It's the ones or whole number. That we're going to be using whole number throughout this lesson. If it says whole number, that's this place value. Then here is the tens, which is a review, hundreds. You put your comma after every 3 times. Then we have thousand, 10,000, 100,000, another comma, then you have million, 10 million, on up. Okay, it's the one to the right of the decimal point that we tend to worry about a little bit more. Okay, the one to the right of and, that's not called the once. There is no such thing as the once, so I don't ever want to hear anybody say once. It is called the tenths. Tenths, like I'm spitting. Tenths. And it has that THS on the end. One more is called the hundredths. Not hundreds, hundredths, like you're spitting. One more to the right back there is the thousandths. It's got the THS on it. Thousandths. Then, of course, you have the 10,000ths. Then it would be 100,000ths, millionths, same thing. Okay? So you have to recognize the place value. Okay? So here are the steps to rounding. Okay, let's just start with this problem. Let's start with, as an example, 3.297. And it says round to the nearest whole number. Okay? Well, as we talked about up above, whole number is the ones position. So what I do first step is to underline the place value stated. Here's the place value stated, so I find the whole number in this problem. Well, I know the whole number would be right here. I underline it. Second thing I need to do is draw an arrow one place to the right of it. Okay, well, one place to the right would be right there. And I look at that number in that place, which is 2. And I determine, is that 5 or more, or is it 4 or less? If it's 5 or more, you can say, I'm going to raise the score, which means you bump that number of the place value up. So you would bump the place value up. Okay? Or if it's 4 or less, let it rest, so you keep that number in the place value. Okay? Well, our number is 2. We are not going to change our place value number. It's going to remain 3. Okay? So then it says, I mark off or delete the rest of the numbers to the right of the stated place value. Or I can just put zeros. So anything to the right of this, I just mark out now. Or they become zeros. So rounding it to the nearest whole number would be 3. That would be my answer. I could also write 3.0, 3.00, whatever, but 3 is your answer. All right, so now we're going to try these problems. It says round to the stated place value. Round number 1 to the nearest whole number. So I got to underline my whole number, which is the 1's position. I underline the 7. Then we draw an arrow one place to the right of it, which is the 8. The number that we're looking at is 8. Is that 5 or more or 4 or less? Well, it's 5 or more, so I raise the score of my 7. So now this 7 has to be one more. So that makes it 8. My decimal point's there, and I mark everything else out, or I put zeros. So my answer could be 8.000. It could be 8.0 or just 8. Okay, number 2 says 6.02. We want to go to the nearest 10th. That's what it says, 10th. I know the 10th position is 1 behind. Okay, so I underline that position. Second step is draw an arrow 1 to the right, and I look at that number 2. That is not 5 or more, so I'm going to let it rest. So my answer is going to be 6.0. Here is the place value right here that I'm rounding to. So I'm going to leave that 0 there because it shows the reader that it has been rounded to the nearest 10th. Is that the same as 6? Absolutely. Next one, 5.6987 to the nearest thousandth, like I'm spitting. So I go, okay, here's tenths, hundredths, thousandths. There it is right there. Underline it. Draw one place to the right. I'm looking at that 7. 7 is 5 or more, so I'm going to bump my 8 up. I'm going to mark that out. Write everything else down. 5.699 is my answer. Number 4, we're going to 6.651 to the nearest whole number. Again, whole number is the 1's position. Draw an arrow 1 to the right. That's a 6. Okay, that's 5 or more, so I'm going to bump it up. My 6 is going to, this 6 right there is going to bump up to a 7. Everything else gets marked off. So my answer is either 7 or I could write 7.0. It doesn't really matter. 5, 7.0760. I'm going to round it to the nearest 10th. Here's my 10th position. One more to the right. That's a 7. So that 7 is going to bump up the 0. What's above a 0? 1. So my answer is 7.1. Okay. Now we're going to look at number 6. Number 6 says 9.3959, round to the nearest thousandth. Okay, so here's 10th, 100th, thousandth. It's a 5. Okay, that's more. 5 or more, we're going to raise the score. So that 5, we have to look. Wait a second, you guys, sorry. We're going to back that up, you guys, because my dogs are barking, sorry. Okay, so thousandth, 10th, 100th, thousandth. The 9 is 1 to the right, so it's going to bump that 5 up to a 6. So it's 9.396. I want to make that one to the nearest. Let's do that one again. 9.3959. This time we're going to go to the nearest hundredth. Okay, this is what I wanted to show you. So make this problem number 6.5. If I underline the hundredth position, that's this one, okay? I look to the number to the right of it. It is 5, which is going to bump that 9. This 9 is going to go, well, what's above a 9? 10. Okay, so these go away, but I would have to put a 0 here, and 10 bumps this one up one more, which would make that a 4. So it would be 9.40. Is that the same as 9.4? Yep. All right, last one. A lot of times in life, you guys are going to have to round your money into the nearest cent. That means, do you know what the cent value is? What place value it is? Aren't there 100 cents in a dollar? Yep. So we're going to round to the hundredth when it says cent. Okay? This is going to be in your pay as well as, buying gasoline, your pay, taxes. Nothing comes out of, some things come out to the nearest cent, but not everything. So we're going to find a hundredth place, which is a 5. The number to the right of it's a 6. That's 5 or more, so it's going to bump that 5 up. I mark these out, and the 5 now becomes a 6. So that would be $2.46. Okay? What I want you guys to do, in your notebooks, after you've written all these problems down and the steps to rounding, you're going to do the last 5 problems. Bring them back to class.